What's up, nostalgia addicts? It's your rerun king, Nostalgic Lee here, holder of hot takes, hoarder of action figures, and the undisputed champion of yelling at the TV like it's 2001 all over again. And today, I'm stepping into the squared circle solo to bring you my top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time. Sorry, there's no Pop, there's no Iris, and there's no Cassette. They all decided to ditch me to go to the beach. I decided to hang back since the events of our last beach break. Yeah, I don't think I'm going back with them anytime soon. But let's get back to the topic. This whole thing isn't about championship wins or who had the most what. This whole list is about feels. How they made me feel growing up, how they make me feel as a wrestling fan. I also must admit, there's no real order to this, just me going on about my 10 favorite wrestlers. So it's time for us to get into that squared circle, for us to wrestle those feelings, for me to go back down memory lane. Sorry, I think I got a little too into it. Before we get into the top 10 though, I want to throw out my honorable mentions. Jay White, the switchblade of mind games, cool, sharp, tactical, and brilliant. Chris Jericho, reinvented more times than a phone charger. Every era, a banger. My favorite, Y2J. Scott Hall, the coolest wrestler ever. That strut, that toothpick, whole vibe. Some that you might now know about, which is awesome, but Stephanie Vaquer, poise, power, precision, one of the brightest rising stars in the game, and someone that I've been a fan of for a very long time. I'm so happy that all of you get to see her. The mic magician, AJ Lee, the blueprint of the smart, strong, and different generation. Kota Ibushi, the golden god of chaos and neck bumps. This dude's built like an action figure and moves like a video game. The phenomenal AJ Styles. He ran roughshod over New Japan. He was the guy when it came to TNA. And then he came to WWE and showed everybody who he was. The GOAT. Lastly, I want to take a moment. Because some lights shine so bright, they become unforgettable. Hana Kimura wasn't just talented, she was transcendent. The future of wrestling wrapped in color, charisma, and confidence. She made the ring feel like a canvas. Every entrance, every outfit, every smile. She made you believe in what she was doing next. But we didn't get to see a lot of her story, and that honestly hurts. We lost her to a world that didn't deserve her brilliance. But I promise, her name will never fade from my memory or from this channel. Thank you, Hana. You mattered. You still do. Rest easy, dear friend. And now, it's time. Are you ready? Because I think I'm ready to get this off of my chest, finally. The first entry into my top 10, the Olympic gold medalist, the blue-eyed devil, Kurt Angle. Fun fact, Kurt Angle was the only Olympic gold medalist who also once wore a tiny cowboy hat on live TV. You heard it here first. But even with that being said, he was terrifying. One minute, he's downing milk like it's protein-packed holy water, or making himself look pretty bad on TV with this.
And I'm a man who loves to play with boys. No,
And then the next moment, he's German suplexing half of the roster into the next time zone. That's the duality of Kurt. He was an absolute machine in the ring that dominated WWE, TNA, and even the East Coast in Japan. Two of my favorite matches from Kurt Angle are one, excuse the controversy, but his WWE Undisputed Championship match at the Royal Rumble in 2003 against Chris Benoit. And you know you cannot sleep on the WrestleMania 21 match versus Shawn Michaels. That was a clash of styles. Technician versus showman. He proved that you can be a dork and a destroyer. A true wrestling paradox. I salute you, oh glorious ankle-snatching gremlin. Next on my list, the nerd king who rewrote the rules, Xavier Woods. This man made video games, anime, and black excellence not just cool, but undeniably main event material. Xavier Woods is the wild card, the living embodiment of Toonami energy in wrestling form. From the first time I saw him as Consequences Creed in TNA, where I thought he was a great fit for the X Division, to NXT, where he was billed from Angel freaking Grove. It's morphin' time. Shout out to all my Ranger fans in the comments. He's the iconic host of Up Up Down Down, a YouTube transmission he created that became a whole digital empire. And in the ring, don't sleep. Dude can go. He's technical, quick, deceivingly strong, precise, and loud in all of the right ways. From trombone solos mid-match to fighting in King of the Ring like he was playing Fire Emblem IRL. Xavier Woods didn't just break the mold. He mega busted it wide open and uploaded a whole new blueprint for what modern wrestlers could be. Cosplay? Check. Black excellence? Check. Controller in one hand, trombone in the other, he's basically a final boss with charisma stats maxed out. Let me be the first to speak for the Blurreds and say, thank you, Woods. Thank you, Austin Creed. We see you out there. We watching. Sorry. Anyways, if I have to boil down some of my favorite Xavier Woods matches, it would definitely be the two against AJ Styles. One in 2021 and one in 2016. But boy, do we love seeing a king crowned. I have to go with King of the Ring finals, Xavier Woods versus Finn Balor. That was goated. And speaking of Finn Balor, before he donned the name, before he had this Demon King aura and smiled through questionable booking, he was Prince Devitt. That man oozed final boss energy in every fiber of his being. He would hit the ramp painted as Venom, Carnage, Spawn, the Joker, Freddy Krueger, you name it. Think Squall from Final Fantasy VIII meets Infrared itself. He had the presence and the matches that made you feel like you were in a cinematic cutscene. And then Bullet Club happened. His leadership, ruthless, iconic, and outright world-shifting. He turned New Japan Pro Wrestling into appointment television for a whole generation of fans that thought the indies couldn't touch the big leagues. He created one of, if not the most iconic wrestling faction with the Bullet Club and took the East by storm. The real shooter, the real rock and roller, the gaijin that shook Japan by its core because no one saw it coming. He terrorized the top talent with an iron fist and almost made history, coming so close to holding the top title in the junior and heavyweight divisions. He destroyed New Japan with his militia and showcased why you could never count the Demon King out. He wasn't just wrestling, he was performing myth. My favorite matches of his had to have been Wrestle Kingdom 7, that triple threat with him, Kota Ibushi, and Low-Ki, or Wrestle Kingdom 8, Prince Devitt versus Kota Ibushi. If you haven't seen those matches, please, please, please check them out. Next on my list, hardcore country royalty, Mickie James. The girl with the curls and insane roundhouse kick, a name synonymous with greatness. Her original feud with Trish, oh man. That was psychological warfare disguised as a love letter to women's wrestling. It had layers, drama, intensity, unhinged brilliance. And it was electric. It made me fall in love with women's wrestling as a little dude. I was glued to my TV watching this so-called fan get the upper hand on such a legend like Trish Stratus. And yes, I will admit she sent my heart aflutter. She spent years on top, and then when she did have to step aside, she came back as a hardcore country icon. And the TNA fan in me, oh my gosh, when she came back at the Royal Rumble 2022 and she had her championship from TNA, iconic. She never just came to play. She came for her flowers. She snatched those flowers, and then she kicked you in the teeth for making her work for it. As for favorite matches, I have to go with the aforementioned with Trish Stratus. But let me throw out there Hard to Kill 2022. Texas Death Match. Mickie James versus Deonna Purrazzo. Please check that one out.
Now step aside. It's the Macho Man's turn. Dig it.
The Macho Man Randy Savage. I love Randy Savage. He was flamboyant, ferocious, and philosophical all at once. The absolute cream of the crop. Every promo felt like a fever dream. The gear, a Lisa Frank Trapper Keeper exploded, and I loved every stitch. And that elbow drop, poetry in motion. If you slowed it down and played classical music underneath, it'd make you weep. Savage made wrestling feel like Greek tragedy in vaporwave.
Oh yeah, poetic violence. Dig it.
From the iconic raspy voice to the methodical in-ring gravitas. You had to hang on to every word he said, but also watch in awe at every move he made. A true icon of the business. And a match I love to revisit, WrestleMania 3. Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. If you know, you know. Next on my list, the creative flame that lit the path. Bray Wyatt. This man did not just wrestle. He built worlds. Bray Wyatt wasn't just a performer I admired. He was a spark that ignited so much in how I approach this very channel. Requiem for Whiplash wouldn't be what it is today without Bray's influence. He showed me that storytelling could be strange, layered, theatrical, chaotic, and still hit you in the soul. Whether he was leading us into the eerie backwoods as the patriarch to the Wyatt family, or dragging us through the flickering madness of the Firefly Funhouse, Bray had a rare gift. He made weird feel necessary. He made fear beautiful. He made pain poetry. I was really vibing with his in-ring style, that raw physicality, the way he moved for a man his size. Underrated doesn't even begin to cover it. I didn't even realize that they were the same person until much, much later, honestly. That's how good he was at reinventing himself. Bray didn't just change gimmicks, he transformed reality. As the Eater of Worlds, he haunted the screen with those cryptic promos that still give me chills. The Fiend? That character should be studied in film schools and psychology classes. Bray's work was layered with symbolism, pain, rebirth, and madness, and it challenged us to dig deeper. He blurred the lines between horror, theater, and pro wrestling in a way that nobody else had the courage to do. He taught me that every frame matters, that a glitch, a phrase, or even silence can tell a story louder than 10,000 words. So when you see the glitched out font, the visual nods to retro horror, the psychological dives into nostalgic media, that's the Bray in me. That's the legacy he left behind. I miss him. Well, we all do. But I carry his lessons every time I send out one of these transmissions. Because Bray Wyatt didn't just walk through the fire. He became it. And thanks to him, we learned how to dance in the smoke. First, I want to thank you as a fan for everything that you've done for wrestling. But I also want to thank you personally as a man for helping me and inspiring me to take this risk and bet on myself. Thank you so fucking much. Seriously, thank you. Next on my list, Mommy, Rhea Bloody Ripley. Before I even go on, I need to put out this disclaimer. I have been a fan of Rhea Ripley since like 2013 or 14. I saw that Suicide Silence shirt, the Mitch Lucker stomp, that deathcore metalcore attitude, and I was like, yep, this is the one. She was just different. But I had friends, and you know exactly who you are. Those friends said that she was just a Charlotte Flair ripoff, that she wasn't as good as insert wrestler here from the East. They made being a Rhea Ripley fan hurt. I eventually just stopped talking about her. If you have those kind of people in your life, get rid of them. They are not worth it. But yeah, how's that hot take looking, huh? Seems to me that it aged like milk. Anyways, we've got Rhea Ripley who leveled up immensely since then. Gone are the days of Demi Bennett, and in are the days of Mommy, the former black-hearted queen of the Judgment Day. Every entrance feels like the gates of Hades just opened up and she's leading the charge. She helped usher in metal to the masses. People are looking at metalheads now and thinking that, hey, maybe I should give them a shot. And a lot of it is due to her. Let's just take a minute. This woman is what happens when a deathcore pit meets a Royal Rumble. She's not just a powerhouse. She's a walking, stomping tribute to everything I love about wrestling and metal. The studs, the eyeliner, the Mitch Lucker stomp, the way she walks down the ramp like she owns the multiverse. Iconic behavior. Like, yo, I remember seeing her early on before she hit the main roster and thinking, yep, that's the future. And then she showed up all decked out like she was a brutal legend boss. She was throwing people around like they were life-size action figures, and suddenly my little nostalgic wrestling brain short-circuited. And also, just, side note, have you seen her? But real talk, Rhea Ripley embodies everything that I love about modern wrestling. Unapologetic, fierce, stylish, and totally redefining what strength looks like in the ring. She's not trying to fit a mold. Instead, she's brutalizing that mold and wearing it as an accessory. Both of my favorite matches of hers come from WrestleMania. One was the main event against Charlotte Flair in WrestleMania 39, and the other, WrestleMania 40 against Becky Lynch. Both of those really showcase how great she is in the ring, especially when she locked up with Charlotte. And now we have to go into one of the most underrated architects in wrestling, Christian Cage. Christian Cage was never really handed the spotlight, but instead ripped it out of the ceiling. In WWE, he was Edge's witty partner, and some would even delegate him to just the sidekick. But when he walked into TNA in 2005 as Christian Cage, he leveled up immensely. You could feel the aura. Suddenly, he was the guy. Cutting pipe bomb promos, winning world titles, going toe-to-toe with legends like Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, and AJ Styles, and doing it all with this smug, cold, brilliant arrogance. Also, shout out to you if you remember Christian's Coalition. His heel work, pure gold. He made villainy sound like Shakespeare, and he was always unapologetic about it. But I guess that's what happens when a monster attacks you in your home. This is your fault, Abyss. Christian proved that talent and timing are just as powerful as theatrics and pyro. This guy didn't just deserve the spotlight, he became the true architect of it. He was Captain Charisma. Christian Cage delivered every time he stepped into the ring, and seeing him in AEW as such a piece of shit only makes it that much better. His win over Kenny Omega for the Impact Championship was exactly what we all wanted as Christian Cage fans. But going after people's deceased fathers? That's what we needed. I'm sorry if you're not a wrestling fan, you just had to be there.
And here's the thing, I know Jungle Boy, he looked at me like a father figure. He sure did. But here's the thing, Jungle Boy, I never wanted to be your father. I never wanted to be your father figure. You have a father, but your father's dead.
And
I will beat you so bad, you'll wish your wife Bree was the one that has CTE. So she won't be able to comprehend what an embarrassment you were as champion.
As for favorite matches, AEW Rampage for that Impact title, him and Kenny Omega. Or Christian Cage versus Jeff Jarrett, NWA Championship against all odds, February 12th, 2006. One might say it was an instant classic. Next on my list, Shinsuke Nakamura, the king of strong style. You know how sometimes you just see someone move and you just know that they're built different? Like, they're not just a wrestler, they're a vibe, a frequency, a feeling. That's Swagsuke. This man isn't just the king of strong style, he's a rock star in the ring. Before he even set foot in WWE, he was already a living legend in New Japan. This dude was clashing with Tanahashi in classics, walking out draped in charisma and chaos, and making that Intercontinental title in Japan feel like it was the main belt. I mean, come on. His 2015 match against Kota Ibushi? Cinema. That wasn't just wrestling. That was freaking tone poem of knees, vibes, and raw electricity. His entrance felt like a performance art, like he was possessed by Freddie Mercury, anime swagger, and Bruce Lee all at once. Nobody moves like him. Nobody feels like him. He could throw a knee like it was dipped in holy fire and make it look like poetry. You'd watch him wrestle and immediately start craving ramen, leather jackets, and synthwave playlists. Shinsuke was a wild, unpredictable, fluid rebel. A rock star, a samurai, all of this wrapped into one. And for a wrestling nerd like me, watching his rise in Japan was like watching magic unfold in real time. And if you ever saw this dude winding up a Kinshasa or a Bomaye and you didn't yell out with him, you are stronger than me. Because I was in the living room looking like I caught the Holy Ghost. Strong style with stage presence. He's art, bruh. Not just my favorite Shinsuke match, but one of my all-time favorite matches, maybe even one or two. Nakamura versus Kota Ibushi at Wrestle Kingdom 9. But if that doesn't sell you on him, I raise you Shinsuke Nakamura versus Hiroshi Tanahashi Invasion Attack 2014. We're going to be moving on to my last entry to my top 10, but if you want to see me talk more about wrestling, the ones that I really love or the ones that I maybe don't like as much, leave a comment, like, subscribe. I don't mind talking about this. I actually love talking about this. Now, it's final boss time. Last entry into my top 10, the best belt machine, the cleaner, Kenny Omega. Look, I've been patient, I've been composed, but I can't hold it anymore. Do you even understand the serotonin that hit when I found an old, grainy YouTube clip of this guy hitting a Hadouken on someone down a sandhill? Not just a little cosplay nod, full pose, energy blast sound, and full boom. Instantly, I was like, who is this guy? I was locked in when I found that. Getting to watch him in PWG, watching him in DDT, I am so nostalgic for that era. And then the evolution, the arc, the Omega saga. When he took over Bullet Club by kicking AJ Styles out, yeah, that was not just a faction switch up, that was a power shift. It was like watching Vegeta finally step into the role he always wanted. He didn't just inherit the Bullet Club, he remixed it, injected it with charisma, anime energy, and boss battle swag. And to think, at that point he was only scratching the surface. Bouts against Naito, Ishii, Tanahashi, and he just kept leveling up. All of that led to the Odyssey. The freaking 4-part classic against Okada. That wasn't wrestling, that was art. That was me at 4 a.m. screaming at my screen like the outcome affected my taxes. The pacing, the callbacks, the psychology, the tears in the last match, it was emotional wrestling warfare. Omega and Okada broke the scale like it was a Killer Instinct combo meter.
Supreme victory!
It was a true Street Fighter Grand Finals. And speaking of Street Fighter, can we please talk about when Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks pulled up to face the New Day at E3? Like, bruh, come on. That was worlds colliding in the best way possible. You had anime nerds, wrestling nerds, gaming gods, all in one building. Kenny showing up in character, Woods talking smack like it was SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 again. That wasn't just some gaming exhibition, that was a cultural event. That was personal. That was my entire identity being validated in a global live stream. Two guys that made me believe that you could be a gamer, an anime nerd, and a fighting game addict and still be the best in the world. Kenny blurred the line between East and West, between fantasy and athleticism, between passion and perfection. He is everything I love about modern wrestling in one perfect, overdramatic, trigger-happy, controller-throwing package. Every match is a narrative, every promo is coded lore, every V-trigger, emotional trauma in knee form. From DDT to New Japan to AEW, Kenny proves that storytelling and athleticism aren't just connected, they're entwined. When he beat Okada in that legendary fourth match, I cried. I felt like I beat Sephiroth on hard mode. It wasn't just a win, that was redemption. Kenny Omega made me believe that that epic storytelling of Final Fantasy could live inside the ring. Inside our hearts. I obviously would put up any of those matches as my favorite Kenny Omega matches, but I'll also throw out Kenny Omega vs. Kota Ibushi in the G1 Climax 2018. Check it out. But with that being said, that was my 10 and some honorable mentions. If you made it this far into the video, let me know what your top 10 would look like, and let me know what your favorite wrestling finisher is. As for an outro, I'll let Kenny do it.
Goodbye. Mwah. And good night.